Welcome to the DrVtach Show. This podcast is long-form conversation hosted by DrVtach with the top guests in the world of esport, owners, managers, pros, semi-pros, former pros, and content creators of mini games. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the DrVtach Show. Today we have a special guest. Now, when I say special, I mean special. Folks, in every sports there's out there, when we talk about basketball, we have certain people that pop in our mind immediately, like the GOAT, Michael Jordan. When you think about boxing, you think about Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. You think about soccer, in Eastern they call it football. You think about Messi, Ronaldinho, or Cristiano Ronaldo. When you think about golf, you got Tiger Woods or Jack. When you think about hockey, you think about Wayne Gretzky. But when you think about esports, who I have in mind is nothing but the best, the GOAT. He is the Tom Brady of NFL. His name is FATAL1TY. He's won 12 world championships. Folks, this guy's big. In 5 games, not just 1, 5. He's a beast. He's an eSport Hall of Famer and a Lifetime Achievement inductee and founder of FATAL1TY Gaming Hardware. Guys, let's bring a welcome to the GOAT. FATAL1TY, how you doing, man?
Hey, thank you very much, man. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, FATAL1TY, I'm in my 40s. People know that I'm 46. So I did watch you way back when you were down popular in 99, 2000s. And my God, if the internet was as it is now, I think you blew up pretty big and the internet was starting to was climbing up. But you made a big impact. And it's unfortunate that nowadays a lot of this new people are coming in, they don't know you yet. This is why this podcast is so important. This episode is, I want everybody to know who FATAL1TY is. Some people I mentioned, I say, you know FATAL1TY? They go, no, I never heard of them. I said, how old are you? I'm 17, I'm 18, 19. I said, okay, wait, look up this guy. When they look up, they're like, oh my God, this guy won a whole bunch. I'm like, that's the GOAT. That's the GOAT.
Yeah, it was I played a lot and for a long time. So, I think the internet, obviously the internet coming out, that basically became more accessible in the 90s. Obviously I was a trailblazer in, basically playing tournaments locally in my region. And then eventually I saw the opportunity to, be the first, full-time professional gamer, like traveling around the world, competing against the best players and, basically every continent besides Antarctica. And, it was just, there was people before me that, I obviously looked up to, like, you look at like a player named like Thresh. He won a Ferrari for playing Quake 1. And I was always like, dude, this guy won a Ferrari for playing video games? That's insane. And I knew he had a business and a company and all that stuff, and he was doing very well. And like he parlayed his gaming right from the start, get-go. And I was just amazed he was able to build this brand, build his companies up through his kind of like popularity as a gamer. And, as I looked at professional gaming, I was like, well, I think there's another level we can go to. And I wanted to make a career out of it. I wanted to show people that I can live solely off my prize winnings and being a professional gamer. And that's why I've always kind of titled myself as like the first full-time professional gamer. but definitely Thresh is one of the guys I looked up to as a kid, and you know, I was always kind of amazed by his gameplay. But you know, when I addressed the gaming circuit and so forth, I was like, no, I can do this full time. Like, this is my job. And basically, I just trailblazed around the globe, doing media and interviews in every country I went to, every continent I went to, and basically just spreading the word about professional gaming and esports. And the thing was, like, no one really knew what esports was yet. They didn't know what competitive gaming was, so I was constantly kind of, you know, I always said kind of the Johnny Appleseed that just basically traveled around the world. I was basically it's called barnstorming. It's what they did when they created baseball. Basically, just, you know, you set up a field wherever it is, and you have people throwing fastballs and see if they can hit this guy or not hit this guy. And that's kind of what I did with the Fatality Shootout. I basically around the world, and I was like, you know, I'm the #1 gamer in the world. You can come play me. And so we started doing these Fatality Shootouts all across the globe, and it became a massive hit. We started doing. I mean, I've been doing the Fatality Shootout. Probably did it for, I don't know, 14 years, something like that. So basically, we just did trade shows, conventions, and this is really what helped launch the Fatality brand, was doing these shootouts and giving the average person from whatever town the opportunity to play against the best. And that's what I think is kind of like my accolade for being a pioneer in esports, and really just trying to spread the word that, you know, you can make a living playing video games. And it was definitely a tough journey, you know, to some degree, but it was you know, back then you had to win, and that's what I did. And so for people today, and all the different avenues people have today, it's really endless. I mean, you don't really have to be the best in the world anymore. You can just be an influencer. You can be entertaining. There's so many different ways to make money now in esports and gaming, versus, you know, the early days. And that's kind of, you know, where I stand with, like, kind of the groundbreaking moments of esports and gaming. Was the early days. Is we had to pay our dues, and I was kind of the guy that I was the guy that paid his dues and spread the word of competitive gaming across the globe.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing a documentary of you on YouTube, I think it was. Yeah. And it showed, like, how you started off. I think you left out of your parents' house and you went to live in an apartment with a couple of your buddies.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the monitors over these big clunkers, you know, those big
The
heavy
CRT monitors.
Yeah. And you were playing with that. And I could just imagine, if you were that good with those monitors, imagine if you had a 200 hertz monitor.
Oh, see, the thing is, like, people don't realize CRT monitor is probably still the best monitor today.
Oh, really?
I mean, I mean, the CRT monitor is so smooth. There's, like, no input lag. The thing is, with the monitors we play on today all have input lag, and everything that we touch today in esports and gaming has massive amount of input lag built into it. When I played, it was a very pure feeling. Like, you felt connected to the screen, to the mouse, to the game, everything. As long as you had the proper frame rate in the game, and you're locked out at 120 frames per second, and you're locked at 120 hertz on your monitor, it felt like you're playing on glass. It was the best feeling ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the younger generation, they just don't, they just been playing with this their whole life, and the closest thing you have to, like, kind of that raw feeling, I mean, you can play, like, I don't know, you can play Overwatch. It has kind of a raw feeling of where, you can still make really fast shots. Gosh, what's another game? It's so hard to even talk about a game that has what Quake had, in the 90s and the 2000s. I mean, you were hardwired into the game. And so reflexes and hand-eye coordination and all those, like, skill sets you need to be the best in the world were very, like, you could see it. So when I did my shootouts and playing against people around the world, people thought I was cheating. And it's just like I'm not cheating. It's just I have really good hand-eye coordination, and I've shot this shot a million times, and I have the flick shot down, and I'm gonna hit it pretty much every time I shoot it. But it looks like I'm cheating, And so
Yeah.
it's always fun, like entertaining the crowds with my aim.
And the thing is, you're playing in front of them.
Yeah.
You're playing in front of the crowds. You're playing in front of the staff and everything. They know how you're going to try to cheat in front of thousands of people that are in that crowd, in front of everybody in the world. That would be a big embarrassment. But
No,
hate
it's more of a compliment. Like they just do it. Like
Yeah.
the MTV special. The guy, like he's sitting right next to me, and this is the apartment that you were talking about, where I went to San Antonio, and I was training with these guys in this apartment.
Yes.
But like it was like the best player in the neighborhood. Like kind of like, and the guy was actually legitimately good. Like the guy was like actually a really good player, and I was excited to play with him. And then I beat him like 8-0, 8-1, or whatever it was, and then he instantly says for the camera, he goes, "I think he's cheating." And then he's like, but he says it like in a joking manner. He's like, no, he's just really good.
I mean, geez, he's trying to at least get one kill.
Yeah, I'm a big stickler for not giving anyone anything, because once you give up your opponent any glimpse of hope, they can build confidence on that. So if you don't ever give them those little confident points, it makes a big difference. So when I go to tournaments and play against the best players in the world, and they remember what happened last time, it almost mind fucks them. It's like and so I used a lot of that during my playing days to my advantages. And people just knew when I came to play in a tournament that I was coming to win. I didn't ever go there and take second. That was never my mentality. It was always about taking first place. And, I had to take first place. Like I told you earlier in this podcast, in the early days of esports, it was all about winning. If you took second or third, you were like back at your regular job. You're back doing whatever you're doing, going back to school, however life hits you back then. And I was fortunate enough to win a lot of tournaments in 2000, and that really kind of launched me into stardom and like notoriety with sponsors and so forth. And then MTV called me and says, "We'd love to do a documentary on you." And I was like, "Sure, let's do it." And then they filmed me for like 4 months, and they actually filmed me playing a game that I was not the world champion at. It was called Unreal Tournament 2003.
Oh, yes, I remember that game.
And so in Unreal Tournament, it was kind of cool because it was kind of like, Unreal players think they're the best FPS gamers in the world, and Quake players think they're the best FPS gamers in the world. So you had like this like kind of rivalry going on between the community. And so I remember, playing the tournament, and I went to my very first qualifier I lost. And I was like, man, like I got to learn this new fighting technique. It's like, I was compared to like mixed martial arts, where someone's good at like punching or good at grappling or good at wrestling or whatever, kicking, whatever their skill set is. In FPS games, it's very much the same thing. Going from Quake to Unreal Tournament, the fights were like more mid to long range, and there was not very much close range fighting. If there was, there's only the flak cannon. The flak cannon was like the only thing like really viable close range. But typically it was all mid range, and then shock rifle from like mid to far range. That was the most dominant weapon. And so learning the new fighting technique and so forth took time. And I know I trained for like 2 or 3 months, playing 8+ hours a day. Then obviously having MTV follow me around for that 4 months, and then eventually I went to the tournament, and I won it. And that episode like re-aired for like 13 years. Because that was before reality TV was even a thing yet. Like no one was watching. I think the Real World came out after that. like that's how old school. This was the first time we ever got mainstream television to cover esports, and it was huge. Like it was just a massive point in my career, and actually it launched my business. So the MTV thing was monumental in my popularity and success in business.
So to get a bit better understanding, you went from your home. At what age you left your home to start this? When you went out with your friends and you lived on your own?
Well, 2 weeks before I graduated high school, I moved in with my dad. So I
Okay.
literally, my mom grounded me for 3 months, and I wanted to go to this tournament, and um, basically she didn't let me go, or she
Um,
wasn't gonna let me go. So then I was like, I have to go. I have to find out how good I am. I have to go. Like I knew I had to go, and all my friends were so adamant. They're like, Jonathan, like I just beat everyone in London, and you're up here in Omaha, Nebraska, playing me, and you beat me 8 games straight. And so obviously you're gonna go and win money. Like it's not even a question. It's like as a matter of fact, it's like are you gonna take first or not? Is like really the question. And I was like, well, I've never played in a pro tournament before. I've only played in like regional tournaments. I've won every tournament I've entered for 3 years. So like, going against all the best players in the world that maybe have more tournament experience than I do, I was kind of, interested in the challenge. So I saved up $500, moved in with my dad. I go, Dad, I made a handshake deal with my dad. I was like, Dad, I need to go to this tournament. In 3 months, I'm going to travel to Dallas, Texas. I'm going to play in this tournament. So I had $500 in cash, whatever it was, in my bank account. And I started driving down there. One of my buddies I used to train with in Nebraska had a buddy that lived in Dallas. So he offered up his couch for me to train at his apartment for 2 weeks before the tournament. And obviously, the player I'm playing with is also a world champion Quake 2 player named Rix. And so I was like, this is perfect. I get to train with like another champion who knows what it takes to win and so forth, and we can really have good sparring sessions.
Correct.
And then we obviously we trained, and I went to the qualifier the week before the tournament, and I took first in the qualifier, and I was like, oh, this is a good start. And they also gave me $550 cash for winning the qualifier, and I was like, sick, like I got my money back. and
Yeah.
and so I was kind of stoked. I was only 18 at the time, and I remember going to the tournament at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas, Texas, and then playing in the tournament, and I ended up taking third place. Won $4,000 that weekend playing a video game, and I was like, "Holy crap! $4,000! It takes me like all summer to make that, if I even make that in a full summer." And so I worked at a private golf course as a waiter at that point, and
Mhm.
did tech support on the side too. I had like 2 or 3 jobs at one time. I was just trying to get ahead in life.
Right.
And so yes, I won the money, came and slapped that check on the table and showed my dad the $4,000 check, and like, Dad, I won $4,000 this week playing a video game. What's this world coming to? And then basically he says, if you can make this money on the side, life is gonna be a lot easier for you. And so I just got addicted to the idea of like, I can really make a living at this. And then I think like 2 weeks after that tournament, Razer, the old Razer that went bankrupt, they reached out to me, and they were like, hey, FATAL1TY, we'd like to fly you to Sweden to represent USA. And I was like, yes, I'm in. And then obviously I went to the tournament and I won 18 games straight, losing 0 against the top 12 guys in the world.
What?
Yeah, and that was the monumental, like that was my first like major world championship, where playing against top 12 guys in the world. And then I remember after the tournament, I won, and the guys were all talking. They were like, no one's ever done that before. Like playing against the top 12 guys in the world, and you play. We're literally playing best of 3 with the best players in the world, like all like right in a row, like bam, 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 bam. But I won every game 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 18 times. And so I walked up to the sponsor and I was like, you should. Now I was always like, I was almost jealous. I was like, these people have their pictures on the back of these mouse boxes, and I was like, well, why do they get their picture on the back of their mouse box? They're not even that, like, they're not the best in the world. It's like I'm the best in the world. So I walked up to the sponsor and I told him, I was like, hey, like, you should sponsor me. And at 18 years old, I'm just trying to make as much happen as fast as possible because I have very limited time. Because I'm gonna have to go to school. I'm gonna start my career. I have all these things going, but like I really want to give my shot at this. And I already did the hard work of winning the championship. And then I'm like, well, I have this now, and like, how do I use it? It's like it was literally like I won. I literally walked over to the sponsor like within like the next like 30 minutes, and told the guy, I was like, you should sponsor me. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I'm the best in the world. And, it's my first championship, right? And
Mhm.
so then uh, he was, I kind of sold him. I was like, aren't you sponsoring the title tournament this summer in Dallas? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I was wearing the shirt when I win? You know? so so then he was like, okay, let me talk to the president and like let me get back to you. And then I remember I flew home through Chicago and I was going through customs, and the general manager of Razer at the time, he walked up to me and he goes, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna sponsor you. We're gonna pay for all your travel for a whole year. We're gonna give you a salary, and then everything will be taken care of from for the next year. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, here we go.
You got
And
it.
yeah,
It's like,
it was a really good moment. Then obviously I won the tournament, and then I won the gold medal in Korea, and like I was doing everything with their ball mouse back in the day. But that was like the beginning and end of Razer, in my eyes.
I wonder what happened to Razer because were they spending too much money out in the long run with other stuff? Because
I don't really know the full dynamics of their business. I just, I went through the ringer a lot with them. And that was, it's just what happened. I got stiffed on some money from them, and then I got a contract that basically didn't come out to do anything, and so forth. And but even when I was on the MTV thing, I was supposed to do something for Razer for that show, and but they kept being so flaky. And so I just basically, I was like, I'm just gonna. That's kind of what sparked me to create Fatality brand, and make my own products for gamers. Just because I was just like, I can't trust other people, and just doing business in general is just tough back then. And but yeah, I mean, I was winning and doing all the right things, and just unfortunately, just the company filed Chapter 11 or whatever it was, or I forget what the deal was, but
yeah,
wasn't good for me. I know that.
yeah, that kind of sucks. But on the other hand, it opened up a door for you to open up your own brand,
Yeah, which was
which
huge.
yeah, which I know for a fact way back I used to see your brand in a lot of gaming rigs, and it was a Fatality Edition motherboard, Fatality Edition. Everybody knew that motherboard was top tier.
Yeah,
If it had that label Fatality, forget it. And for the folks that is listening that you don't know, if it had Fatality, basically it's saying it had nitro or turbo in it. It's going to perform even better. It was insane. So,
yeah. We basically, we did a lot of work on, basically removing all the things you don't need, like on a motherboard and so forth, and basically making sure that the right power capacitors and so forth are at a high grade quality. So when you're overclocking the computer or playing games for a long period of time, that the the motherboard is going to withstand all those heat issues that you're going to have. So that was really the idea. I mean, I used to go to the store and I used to buy motherboards, but I was like, what is 92AX 251? I was like, I have no idea what this even means. And so that's what kind of sparked me to create the Fatality brand, in the motherboard market. I was already doing Fatality product before that, making mouse pads and so forth. But this is kind of what sparked me to get into motherboard business. So because like when I go to the store, I don't know any of these brands. I mean, people knew Asus, Gigabyte, or whatever, right? But they didn't like no one had like a gaming division. So I approached A-Bit motherboards and then eventually ASRock and pitched them on the Fatality branding concept with my team, and we basically convinced them to take a chance on me, and then we started traveling the world and creating products for gamers. I mean, I was already making like the mouse pads, like I said, like after the MTV thing.
mhm.
I started making the mouse pads. I was making 5 or 10 grand a month selling mouse pads. I was like, this is crazy. And I was like 22 at the time. I was like, this is insane. And so I was like super excited to make products for gamers. I got really into it. And then obviously licensing Creative Labs, doing the sound cards, the headphones. Probably my headphones probably the number one seller out of everything. But we sold a lot of motherboards over the years just because we were in business for so long. It was almost like 17 years of making motherboards. But the headphones, I mean, for 4 to, I don't know, almost 8 years, I mean, we sold millions of headphones.
Well, so talking about your brand, what's your brand now?
Yeah, so now I'm at the point where, I'm trying to work on like the nostalgic value or the rebranding of Fatality. Because like you said, like the younger generation, some of them do know me, some of them don't know me. And
Correct.
so it's playing with that nostalgic value that I have to make I still like making products and so forth, but it's really just finding out what the next step is. I still have motherboards in the market today that are kind of like end of life. They're coming to an end because the contract is up with ASRock. But I still have a lot of desire to make products for gamers and make good quality. And really, that's kind of the limitation. Like you said, like when I put Fatality on something, I want it to be something of quality and something that actually makes a difference in someone's game ability to play at a high level. My phrase is always like, I never want your equipment to be the reason why you lost. The only reason why you should ever lose is because you lost, not because your equipment lost. And that's how I always focused on everything I made. Was I want to know that all the weight is on my shoulders and not on my equipment. And so that was like kind of my mindset, playing for all those years. But yeah, basically just working on the next version. Currently, right now, this year, my plan is to start working on an autobiography, my own book, to kind of tell my whole journey and life story. You're obviously getting like a fraction of it here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But there's a lot more to talk about, a lot more ups and downs that you're getting some of the ups and downs with the sponsors and so forth. But I think there's a very rich story here that people can learn from, and we probably understand like the full, how Fatality started.
Yeah. I seen how like with the documentary with the MTV did. That was the one that I saw that I was like, this is amazing. Now I bet did your mom kind of like later on like, man, I shouldn't go hard on him. I didn't know he was gonna make this amount. He's gonna be like this.
Well, I think it was almost everyone in the world felt like my mom. I mean, everyone's like, you're never gonna make a living playing video games. You're never gonna do this. Never gonna do that. And you know, uh, you know, it was just weird. Like like when you're doing something that no one else is doing, and just like, I mean, how many people were making a living playing video games in that era? Like, I mean, it was just like I was the guy that basically was trying to prove that it is possible, and this is the sport of the 21st century. And so that's why I was talking to Johnny Appleseed. Like I went around the globe, like explaining like this is a sport of the 21st century. People are gonna watch people play video games. I have a massive amount of fan base that loves watching me duel, loves watching me play, they're like real fans. And I was like, there's gonna be other games that are gonna come out in the future. There's gonna be other game titles, other players, and so forth, and they're gonna have the fan base that I had, and probably bigger because of the internet just constantly growing with all the social media platforms and everything else that comes from that. So at that point, I really realized, what I was doing was meaningful because I was speeding up the process of esports becoming more mainstream, and that's why I did it for so long. It was like, I wanted to leave a legacy behind for sure. I wanted to win. I loved practicing. I love the competition. I love being on stage and doing the most insane shot ever at the most important moment. I mean, all those things that you see in traditional sports, I want to do in esports. And you have those magical moments where you get a crowd to drop their jaw because they saw some move I did. And I remember doing so many of those things and hearing the crowd through my headphones and just like, wow, that like I did something like magical for the fans.
And
And
probably for you was basic, like, oh, that was
no, it was. I mean, like, yeah, some of it's like I've done it a million times, but
yeah.
some things they've never seen. And even for me, like I was like, there's this trick in Doom 3. So you could this is back when you could like actually shoot lights out in the game and then you create shadows. And I remember there was like 2,000 or 3,000 people in the crowd at QuakeCON, and it was the inaugural Doom 3 championship. No one's really played the game. It's only been out for like 4 days, so everyone basically is like a noob at the game. But we're bringing all the skills that we have from all these other games to this game, and so it's really kind of I feel like it was like one of my biggest wins, just because a lot of people say, "Oh, he practiced more. Oh, he played more," or whatever deal is. This was a game that like no one had like really more practice at. It was just like, we're gonna throw you into a ring, and then you have to duke it out and win it. And well, anyways, in the grand finals, it was 25 grand. I won that tournament, and basically I shot out these light bulbs, and I created this shadow, and I hid in the shadow, and my opponent ran right by my shoulder, and ran right by me, and then I ran and got away and survived that killing opportunity for my opponent. And the whole crowd just goes nuts. The commentator, DJ Wheat, Marcus Graham, like, he's like, "Oh my God, like, what just happened?" Like, I remember looking at the crowd and just everyone's mouth open in awe. And I was like, yeah, that's right.
I'm the freaking GOAT. You remind me like the pioneers of UFC, like for an example, Royce Gracie. These are the pioneers, people that actually built the octagon. Okay, you built esport, and Royce Gracie had a lot of people like, "Oh no, McGregor's the best or Habib's the best." I said, "Listen, those guys aren't remotely the best. You want to know who's the best on the UFC? Well, look at Royce. He had to fight 3 guys in one night. One night, 3 men with no time limit, no gloves, no nothing. 3 men. It's like you got to go to fight, Mike Tyson 3 times in one night, and it's of course you're going to get beat up at the end. He holds up that paycheck because he won. He won so many. He was a champion for many years. And I see you, excuse me, on the same way. You at the end, you win, you hold up a paycheck. Back then, those paychecks weren't as big as what they're giving out now. Like a lot of this, because of the sponsors, and now esport is like really, really big. Now a lot of these players are making, they're making a lot of money.
Yeah, they're making $1 million plus a year or something.
Yeah, some millions. They're making a lot. If it was back then the same pay, you would have quadrupled the earnings that you got. But you played it smart. That's one thing that I admire about you, because you look more in the future. Okay, hey, what's going to happen on a long term? How I'm going to keep on progressing my name and keep my name in the industry. What I'm going to do. Let me just get into making my own brand. And that part, I said, wow, Johnathan Wendel is so smart. He knew how to target. Now he's targeting, the fans, providing the best equipment out there, and that's amazing. That's amazing how the way you started and you grow, and now having your own brand. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it was like, I think during my playing days, like obviously I built the brand during my playing days. Like I think at the time I created Fatality Inc., I already won probably like 5 championships. And then I won another, I don't know, 6 or 7, I guess, after that. But it was very important to start the brand while I was playing.
Correct.
And so I knew that, and then I was like, I also knew that, if I was being paid like a NFL player, like getting massive contracts, yearly salaries, and so forth, then I could see more longevity of like, okay, I'm going to play games for the rest of my life, or do it as long as I possibly can and compete at the highest level as long as I can, as long as I'm getting paid. But I kind of saw also that the prize money was so dependent on like just marketing budgets, and so that's what really kind of scared me. I was like, well, who's going to take care of me when the sponsorship dollars come up or whatever deal is? And so that's what really kind of sparked me to create the Fatality brand, was really just because I was not sure where my next paycheck was coming from. And so I was like, I need to control my own destiny and make these mouse pads. Like, people love to support me and so forth. And this is before, like, people can support me through Twitch, that they can just sub their channel, and that's like them, helping them do what they love to do. And I stream too, but like it's not the same thing, like as it was back then. But like my version of people subscribing to me was buying my mouse pad. That's why I was making $5 or $10 a month selling mouse pads. I was like, this is freaking awesome. And yeah, it was just a different hustle back then. But yeah, basically I had to find out what I was gonna do next, and I was always trying to think one step ahead of like what the future's gonna bring for me. And but yeah, deep down inside, I wanted to play games for as long as possible, as long as it was more guaranteed contracts like you see in traditional sports. I would have never stopped. I don't think. Like it was like that. That was like a really big deciding factor of like I need to evolve faster.
Correct. So how many years you been in the pro scene and competing?
Well, so like, my very first tournament was like in 1996, playing an FPS game. I played a tournament like 1993, 94, like back like when I was like a teenager, like when I was like 13 or whatever. And I took first place for NBA Jam in my hometown. And I was like, whatever, this means nothing, right? But I was just so fascinated that I could practice a game and become the best in the city. I was like, oh, you can practice and be good at games? Like, this is so weird. And like, I just thought it was weird when I was a teenager. And then when I turned 15 to 16 years old, I was already a big fan of Doom and Doom 2. I played on the network across at my neighbor's house. I only got probably, I think the lifespan of like a year or two, I probably only got an hour and a half of gameplay. I mean, literally, that's how much access I had to do that computer. And I wanted to play all the time, but it was just hard to set up a local, just hard to, get on the computer and play the game. Like, it wasn't my computer. So I begged for a computer forever and eventually got one at my house in 1996, and then started playing Quake 1. And Quake 1 test came out, and that game was amazing. It was, I mean, if you look back at Quake 1 and look at games today, Quake 1 still holds up a flag against some of the games today. It's really that wild. Because like there's so much gameplay that's going on, and so many different like moves and shots and different like rocket jumps and lightning guns and shotguns. Like there's all these like same things you use in like the game, like in Fortnite today, are like that's from Quake from 1996. It's kind of wild when you see like a game that was developed back then, and there's still like some of those same aspects are still being used today.
Like in Halo as well, the capture the flag.
Yeah. I mean, Halo was after Quake. I mean, like Quake really was the beginning from 1996 to 2000. It was. I felt like I was in my own private club. There was no Xbox didn't exist. So like playing CTF and Team Fortress and Deathmatch and Last Man Standing, all that stuff was already in Quake for 4 years. I've been playing it nonstop. I thought I was in heaven every day I came home from school. I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I mean, that's how amazing it was. It was really just crazy. And like, we were playing on dial-up internet, so we're all playing with like a 200 ping. It was like, just being in the game was amazing, and it was a lot of fun.
Wow. Now you were really known as well with Quake, and then what happened to Quake? That's my thing. There's games that last for, and even Unreal Tournament. There's games like for an example, like Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's been out for years. It doesn't die.
Yeah.
And I thought the same thing with Quake and Unreal Tournament. These games should have kept on progressing, still stay on stage. Whatever happened to those games?
Well, Quake, Quake has a long history. Quake 1, obviously the big one was Quake 1 when Thrush won the Ferrari. Quake 2 was Thrush so won some tournaments in Quake 2, and then there was some other champions as well in Quake 2 era. And then Quake 3 came around. That's when I showed up. Quake 4, Toxic became like the number one Quake 4 player, but there wasn't a whole lot of money in Quake 4. And then after Quake 4, Quake Live came out. And then you had Rafa enter the game, and then Rafa became the GOAT of Quake Live, and Rafa's probably played Quake the longest out of everyone, just because Quake it was obviously past like its prime years, but it was still like there's still tournaments out there for Quake because people still had a deep feelings for Quake. And so Quake Live tournaments were still going on, and he was winning tournaments here and there, and then eventually he won so many Quake Live tournaments, and then he went to a game called Quake Champions. I think it's like 2016 is when Quake Champions came out. It didn't really have that big of a splash in the market. I played it for about a couple weeks. I had like 10,000 viewers watching me play it on Twitch when it first launched. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll play Quake Champions a lot. And I was really excited about playing Quake Champions, and I was trying to build out a business relationship with Bethesda and Quake Champions and so forth. Unfortunately, we couldn't come to agreement to like work together. And so I was like, well, all my friends play PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And so I was kind of like, well, do I want to play a game that no one plays, or do I want to play a game where all my friends play? And so it became like a very easy decision. Like it was like, okay, like I've played Quake long enough. I need to play something different, and I need to play with my friends. Sure. And the next 3 years, I had the most fun ever playing PUBG. And actually, I got to number one in North America for solos in PUBG in 2017.
Wow.
So for 45 days, I was live streaming. I live streamed for like 3 years probably for PUBG, and so I was just playing all the time. And I was like, guys, I'm gonna do my old training techniques. I'm gonna train like I did back in the day. I'm gonna play 8+ hours a day. I'm gonna run, exercise. I'm gonna do all these things and be healthy and just try to be more just what I used to do in my old regiment when I was being a world champion at Quake, on all tournament, Doom, and all the other games. And so 45 days later, I got to number one, and I held the spot for about 10 days, and I was so ecstatic. But it was just kind of showing people, like, if you put your mind to it, and you can really do anything. And I had a really good training regimen that worked, and it was efficient, and I was extremely happy about it. But I think probably like 2 weeks later, all the hackers logged into PUBG, and it became like this constant cheaters logging in, and I was like, hey, whatever, I'm playing duos, squads now, I'm gonna hang with my friends. But it was a fun time for the channel because I had a lot of viewers watching because they saw how hard I was trying to get there.
Wow. So I remember even seeing you play some, I think I did see you play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I play every game. I played Counter-Strike, I played Halo, I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I played
Didn't you win something with Halo?
No, not in Halo ever.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty a long time ago. Call of Duty, I won a tournament. It was like back in the early days. Valorant, I won a tournament for Valorant during the pandemic. We had like a celebrity match where a bunch, it's basically Counter-Strike. I mean, I played Counter-Strike. I played a lot of Counter-Strike in my life. So I think my highest, like I had my own team and so forth. The highest we ever got, we were top 3 ranked in the U.S. at one point.
Jeez.
So we played a lot.
Make you feel like you want to compete again? Like, geez, top 3, my God.
The thing about competing in team games and so forth, like I only have one world championship in team play, and it's in Quake 3. It's 4v4 team deathmatch. And it was a team called Clan Kapitol. And we had the best team. Like, I remember when the captain reached out to me, he's like, hey, I want you to join CK. And I'm like, I don't want to join another team just to play on a team. Like if I'm going to play on a team, we're building a super team. And so basically he said, like, I was like, who do you have in mind? Like, who are you going to get? And so he started telling me the first name, which was CZM. And I'm not sure if you ever heard of CZM, but he's like a Princeton genius. Like, this guy is like literally like, you could tell him a number like 1,255 divided by 2 plus 3 and divided by whatever and times that, and he would tell you the answer. he was really a genius, and it was just remarkable how smart this kid was. So I knew him from Quake 1. I knew him forever, and he was like a little bit younger than me, maybe like a year younger, a year or two younger than me. And so when he told me CZM was going to be on the team, it's like, okay, you're 1 for 1 on like answering the question correctly. Who's the third guy? And then I only had one name in mind. I was like, there's no way he's gonna say this name. If he says this name, I'm gonna join for sure. Like this, but he has to say it.
Yeah.
And he said this guy's name from Florida. His name is Ouija. And I was like, holy crap, he said the freaking name. And I was like, and I guess you're the fourth, right? And he's like, I'm the fourth. And I'm like, okay, we got 3 of the 4. So we so then we started playing and we went undefeated for 2 years. Never lost a tournament. Yeah, for 2 years.
Oh,
yeah, we were literally, no one could stop us. We had the ultimate team. Everyone knew it. Like, we were dedicated to practicing, training, and then obviously we won all the national tournaments and obviously the world championship in I think it was like 2001 or whatever it was. Yeah, that was my only, like, I have one world championship in team play, and then the other 11 were all individual 1v1 deathmatch games. But where I was getting to with this is that finding the right people on a team is extremely hard. When I have to count on myself in a 1v1 deathmatch situation, I can count on myself, show up for practice every day. I know I'm going to be crazy and like insane about what it takes to be number one, and I'm going to do every minute, every second is going to be dedicated to how do I beat this guy or beat the next guy or win the tournament or whatever it is. And so that's what I loved about playing individuals, because there's so much pressure on me. And it was just a nice feeling to know that, like, if I lost, it wasn't because my team lost, it was because I lost. And when I won, and it was just, you had like that super high, like, adrenaline kick from winning. And so playing Counter-Strike, top 3 in the US, it's good. Like, it's really good, but like in my mindset, I want to be the best in the world. And so it's finding the team and the chemistry between all the guys and making sure all 5 guys are insane on the same level and all like have the same mentality that every second is going to be consumed of this, and this is my life now. That's very hard to find. And once you find it, you want to keep that as long as you can, but you'd always have like turnover. It'd be like one guy, I have to go back to school, I have this going on, family issues, like whatever. Like something always happened. And I only played Counter-Strike, on a very competitive level for probably like 9 months or so, like maybe a year or so, like super hardcore. And the turnover rate already just in that 9 months was already like, this is crazy. Like, how are we ever going to become the best in the world if we have people leaving or falling off or going back to school or whatever the deal is?
Correct. Wow. I mean, so you've been in for so many years, and then Counter-Strike, and you said you play Valorant as well.
Yeah,
Valorant
came out, yeah.
Okay. So when you did this this tourney with the famous people?
Yeah.
Who was in it?
Taylor, was it Taylor Fritz, that like the number 1 US tennis player? He was on my team. Gosh, who else was on the team? Just basically like every team had like a different celebrity on the team and so forth. And I think it was sponsored by American Family or something. I forget the sponsor, but we won 25 grand for it. And basically we just gave that money to, like, I gave it to the Just One Project here in Las Vegas. It was just like so my prize money goes to whatever charity I choose, and then I chose my charity and it goes there. And so it was a fun event, just it was publicized really well. And, I was fragging pretty hard. But and so it was good for me for like, cosmetics of like, just like, okay, Fatality still has it. And so it was cool to do that and so forth. But, I mean, someone that's living and breathing it every day, like a Counter-Strike pro that changes over to Valorant or whatnot. I mean, all these guys are insane. I mean, if you look at some of these players today, I mean, there's some really great players out there. But, they're on that new wave, that new kick of like cracking the code on social media, cracking the code on how to monetize it, and so forth. And it's just a completely different game from when I played. Like, and like even when I stream, like I'll win all the time, but it doesn't translate to like money. What
Right.
translates to money is like being entertaining, like like in a different way. And I've always been kind of like just like I let my gameplay do the speaking for me, and that was kind of how I lived my life. And most people that saw me compete in the early days of esports, they that's all they got to see. They just got to see, um, they just saw me. They'd see me walk into the term area and go kill the guy, then go back to my hotel room. I mean, it was like I was like this assassin that came out of nowhere and just comes in to kill, and then it's over. And then I walk away. Like so. The only time you ever saw me show real emotions, like when I won the tournament. That was the only
Yeah.
time you ever really saw like real emotion. And like I had a really tight knit of people I trained with, and I had the whole thing where people were sworn to secrecy. We have to, whatever happens in this training stays in the training. If you want to be part of my boot camp or my training regiment, these are my rules. If you get interviewed or talk to anyone, you can't talk about any of the things we're doing in the training. I've had people sit outside my hotel room and they're like begging to get in. I'm like, dude, you can't come in. Like you're not a part of our. I don't know you that well enough to trust you. And during
Right.
the whole time, I only had one guy that really broke the rule because I had a no recording demos policy.
Mm-hmm.
So no one could record demos. Like I didn't want anything getting out. So anything that was going on in the training facility or basically at my at my house at the time, was just sworn to secrecy. And I promised you're going to get the best training, but like let me. This is how it has to be done.
Well, I bet that you had to implement those type of rules because it's like even our in the pro scenes, like I'm really pretty into Rainbow, right? And now I'm with the organization Wildcard, and so my buddies on Rainbow Six Siege, they do certain things that they don't do while they're streaming,
Yeah,
and they have to keep it that way because people will literally just look what they're doing, just finding out their gameplay and their style, and then they'll try to take advantage of it.
for
So when they
sure.
go compete against them or they scrimming against them, they will know their play style. So they avoid doing everything on camera. They don't stream it whatsoever. They just keep everything, and in house. And all the orgs, they do that as well on Rainbow. So even in Halo, got buddies of mine like from Phase. So one of my friends, he doesn't stream anything. People ask him, "Hey, can you stream?" And all this. He said, "I'm not. I'm practicing as Renegade." So he does all their stuff off camera, and I see why. I see why because is it there's so much information and people could pick up certain tricks that you do, certain areas that you hide or whatever, and you don't want that out because then
No, for sure.
the enemy team is going to take advantage on a tournament and they're gonna just go right at it,
Yep.
and you don't want that. And when I saw the stuff that you did and you went out, and I think this is probably why you like the 1v1s a lot, because nobody's know your secret, and that secret is only you will know. When you're in a team base, people know your fellow friends, your teammate know your tricks too. So, but when you're in a 1v1, you're the only one. And it's very important to all these tactics, all this stuff, it stays within yourself. Don't tell nobody. You can't trust nobody nowadays because they're gonna go ahead and record, or they're gonna, you know, break the rules doing that.
Yeah, the thing about like people have tendencies, like things they want to do, like they just enjoy. This is like this. It's like their style of gameplay, and some people are very aggressive, some people are very defensive, some people are very strategic, some people are just have really good fight ability, like they're really good at fighting. And some people have all the skills. And when you're playing against the best player in the world, like I was like, for me, if I'm playing against a top 8 guy in the world, he was really good at everything. He was like 4 out of 5 of everything. 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5. When you get to the top 3 guy, the guy's like 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. So it's like that. Like he's almost perfect. The top 3 guy. Because you're playing against, the top 3 guy is legitimately like, this guy has all the things that are necessary to win. He knows timing. He knows how important the ammo is. He knows how important the mega health is, the armors, positioning. But like when you really like, the secret of really being the absolute best, I believe, is knowing how to beat each one of those people. So like a strategic person always dies with power-ups. An offensive guy can die anywhere because he's offensive. A defensive guy can die to attrition just because you can milk him for everything. Eventually, there's going to be a moment where he's going to make a mistake, and you just play on the mistake. Like, he's going to make a mistake eventually. It's going to happen. When it happens, you capitalize on it. But no matter what, you're always in control because you have all the power-ups. You have all the health. You have all the armor. You have all the positioning. You have all those things. And then you have people that are actually crazy. And that's what amazed me, is that the crazy person killed me a lot of times. And I was like, wow, this guy is completely nuts. Like, this guy is literally doing what you should definitely not be doing.
Exactly.
He would do, and so that amazed me. And so I used to train with the crazy guy. I invited him to come to Missouri and train with me. And I was like, I want to train with you a lot because you are insane. Like, I can't predict you. And so the unpredictability became like a really cool thing, because when you're playing against top 3 guy and playing in the World Championship Finals, even the best player in the world is a little crazy. And he will do something when you don't expect it. He'll just do something insane. And that is not, it's not really predictable, but it's like almost shocking. And when it happens, like, damn, if that 1% thing ever happens at a very high level, game is over. The best player in the world will hold control. And that's what I did. I would just find these really, I would always try to hit that 1% thing to happen. And if it happened, oh my God, it was game over. I was like, if I get one thing to go my way, it's over every time. And so I'm just praying that 1% thing happens all the time when I'm playing. And once it happens, it catapults. They start playing too aggressive into you. They start losing their composure. All these things, they start collapsing as an opponent. And that's when you rack up the score and you get crazy high scores and so forth, because the guy just gave up in some regard. But yeah, it's always fascinating me about the different play styles, and each person dies at a different area, a different spot. And it's a matter of like figuring that out. But also, if there's some way you can tell that your opponent is changing, like, oh, he's going defensive. Like, they're like, okay, well then I know where he's going to die in a minute and 30 seconds. Like, like those kind of things. Like, because like when you start getting those kind of thoughts, like, it's really cool because you can really kind of like see the future to some degree. And you already know, like, if I can get here and they get in this moment, he's dead. And so those are the cool things about, playing against the best players in the world, and knowing when people are changing their play styles.
Wow, it's amazing. That's totally amazing. There's something that not only in esport, what you just did, inviting the crazy guy over so he could spar with you, so he could play with you. That is the smartest thing ever. I seen, and mind you, I seen pro players play with randoms that are not pros and get demolished, because these guys, they know they're going to play against pros, so they're like, what the heck, we're going to lose anyhow. So they're like, their mindset, they think they're going to lose, so they're going to go doing the most craziest stunt ever, and they end up winning. And they end up beating them. And I seen this on Rainbow Six Siege. They're going ahead a 5v5, and then all of a sudden they can't. And then what you hear, it's like, oh, dude, what? You jumped out of the window. Something that you would never do on a ranked match. or you're trying to compete or competitive or in a tournament, you will never do that type of stunt because your likelihood you're going to die very quick. But you did it because you just don't care. You're doing the craziest thing ever, and you're actually it's actually working.
Well, sometimes like the thing is like that's when you're up against the wall. Sometimes you have to do that incredible, crazy play. You have to keep
Mhm.
your opponent on their toes. So doing the crazy thing, they might do it too much, and if they keep doing it, they eventually pick up on it. But
Mhm.
when you should be saving that in your back pocket for like that one moment that you have to do something crazy. Or if you just want to win like the first round, you think, oh, like or whatever round it is, like if we do this at this one time, they might just give us an extra round because of
Mhm.
the surprise factor. Um, but yeah, I mean, in my training days, I think I only lost one time ever in my practice. Like, and
Wow.
it was against a guy that was not even like you said, like he was not a top player in the world. He was a
Yeah.
top 64 guy, maybe, and he beat
Mm.
me one game. And I really tried to come back and beat him. I couldn't do it. And I was like, that was the weirdest game ever. And like, I'm trying stuff or whatever deal is, but he still beat me. I was like, that's impressive because the guy's not even like he's like top 64 in the world, like or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not even playing on tour. He's not even on the tour,
He's not
you
even on the
know.
ballot.
And so, and I was just kind of shocked by that, and I was like, well, that's never happened before. And I trained for like it was like 16, 18 months straight. Only lost one time ever in training, and it was against this guy. It blew my mind. It was like, wow, literally, it's like you can really have it like one out of like 1,000 games. I had a bad game, but like for most part, like I just my training partners got tired of me, so I had to hire more training partners. So like not hire, but just like invite them over, whatever deal is. So the first training partner I hired, I actually paid him. I was like, you're traveling the world with me, sponsoring you. You're gonna go all the tournaments with me. You're gonna hopefully you win and do whatever. Like I'm gonna pay you X amount every month, and all your travel, everything's paid for. And
Wow.
then, but yeah, we eventually, I think I had like 6 different guys at my house, sleeping on couches and whatever. Like it was a total boot camp before the World Championship in PainkilleR, and it was a lot of fun. I had all those players. I had the crazy guy, the offensive guy, defensive guy, strategic guy. I had a top 8 player in the world in my place. And I usually wouldn't invite a top 8 guy into the house because they can learn extremely
Yeah.
fast.
Mhm.
But this one guy was named Wombat, Mark Larson, and he was a world champion in his own right. And he, him and I trained before I went to my very first championship I won, the one in Sweden. And
Mhm.
so the first championship I ever won was I trained with him. So he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, Jonathan, you mind if I come train with you?" It's like 100% you can come train with me. You did me a solid, back in 2000, and now it's 2005, it's 5 years later, and I'm like, 100% you can come and train with me. And so we always had like, I think me and him always had like kind of a rivalry to some degree. Uh,
Competitiveness. Yeah.
yeah, just super competitive, but um, yeah, just I was always down for him to come and uh, train with me and play with me, and I really wanted to play with him on the same team. Like he'd been one of my guys that like, hey, he should be a part of that 4-man team, right? He could have been on that team, but he had his own clique, and I had my clique, and it was just kind of weird how that all happened, but it brought us back together, and it was so funny. I think 3 of the guys out of my training camp got in the top 8 at that World Championship.
Wow.
So it was pretty nuts. So the training that I was doing was just better than everyone else's, and these guys haven't really finished in the top 8 like literally all season, like all year. Like it was pretty remarkable. It was a really cool like thing to see that the training I was doing was very effective.
Well, they had to go against you, or vice versa. The training, they gotta they I assume they felt the pressure. Like, okay, we're playing with fatality. I need to go on sweat mode. I need to put in 100, not even 100%. I need to put 150% because I got to try to catch up to his level, go up there. And that, that doesn't only happen, that even happens to a lot of industries, like even in the music industry. And I don't mean trying to change this subject, but Eminem, for an example, he's the number one rapper of all time. But a video, Drake and a whole bunch of other rappers to do one video. They all had to rewrite everything, the lyrics, and change their tone, do everything because they had to sing along with Eminem. They all had to change it. So going back again with you, all these players that play with you and they train with you and practice with you, all that, they all had to do the same thing. Okay, now I'm not playing with so I'm playing with Fatality now. I got to really step up to the game, put in my A game, and start hitting home runs because this is going to be hard. What eventually did, it made them, like you said, they
got better.
top 8. They got better. Of course, they're playing with the best in the world. Now, I have a question. When you had to go to these tournaments, do you feel that a lot of times fear factor of the opponent player, not you, kicked in a lot? Like for an example, somebody in Korea you had to go against. They I mean, they're facing the best. It's like, okay, I think, like their nerves got the best of them. They were good, but knowing that they didn't play as their usual because they were facing against you, they were scared. They're going to get demolished and they end up losing.
Yeah, it's I remember one time, like one of my arch rivals, 04, he was a world champion Quake player as well. He actually beat me in 2001 at QuakeCON, and we had kind of a really good rivalry going on. Like, I mean, I think I was like 4-1 against him. I think lifetime, but he beat me this one time. But I remember we were playing at World Cyber Games in 2000, and I forget what the final score was. I don't know. It was like 8-3 or I forget, or 8. I don't know, something. I can't remember the score of that game. I remember walking up to him after I beat him to go to the finals. It was like the winter bracket finals, like USA versus USA. And then the finals, I think I played against a Swedish guy. But I went up to 04 and I go, I was like, oh, good game. And he was like, man, I couldn't shoot. Like my hand's shaking. He showed me his hand. Like the whole time it was like I just nervous playing against you, basically, essentially. And it was kind of like, wow, like I didn't like I have that much effect that I could get you to shake like that. And it's like, it was kind of like wild. And I always tell people, like, I think he used to wear t-shirts a lot. And in professional tournaments, I was always aware of like what I wore in tournaments. So being warm and not frozen helps blood flow, helps you be more, you have fast reflexes, you're not frozen. And so you look at professional sports, people put on sweats before they go out on the field, or they have a jacket on or whatever to stay loose and stay warm.
Correct.
And so I had the same mindset in professional gaming. I was like, you know what? I'm going to always wear like a fleece, something that's warm, keeps me warm. And these tournaments a lot of times are very cold because they want to keep all the computers at a very good temperature so they aren't overheating.
Correct.
And if you get a really hot gaming room, it's not that good. But yeah, so I had all these like little tricks I would do, and I feel like for 04 at that point in time, I think he probably was nervous, but also probably cold, and so those are all of the kind of things that I try to take advantage of everything, right? I'm always trying to get that 1% edge here, 1% edge there, 1%. Like I try to stack them up. Just like, here are all my advantages, and how do I keep getting these 1% things that happen for me? Where like it's not a 50-50 battle now; it's like a 60-40 battle or a 70-30 battle, because I put all these things in my position, like where if everyone practices the same, then it's 50-50. But if I practice more, now I have 55% to 45, and these kind of things. So my whole mindset was around that. And my trick to not shake, because I used to shake when I first started playing, but caffeine actually made me shake. At my very first tournament, when I took third in that very first pro tournament. I always say it's like pro because like the best players in the world were there, like and so yeah, I remember shaking and I was like, man, this I was like, it's a Gava or whatever, like whatever's them balls. Remember the balls drink? It was like this. It's like literally like in a blue balls. Like it's called BAWLS. It's called balls.
Really?
It's basically like it was before. It was like so funny. It's like blue balls. Like
Blue
it's like it is so funny. And so I was like, who came up with this freaking branding? And so it was like an energy drink. It had like it had something in it, whatever the deal is. It was like before Red Bull. I mean, I think this was before Red Bull. Seriously.
Okay.
And so I was just like, I remember having like a few of them because they were just giving them out for free. I was like, oh, I just got free drinks all the time. And I'm 18. I had no clue what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. My body's like I'm in the best shape of my life. Like nothing can phase me. And I remember just in the tournament, I almost lost one of my matches, and I was so upset. I actually broke my headphones after the match. I won the game 8-7 or whatever it was. So I was really upset at myself that I let a drink affect me so much in performance. That it almost cost me my whole career. Because if I didn't win any money at that very first pro tournament, yeah, I would have kept playing tournaments, wherever deal is, probably. But I would never put the training required to be the best in the world in.
Yeah.
And so it was so funny how close I was to not being a professional gamer anymore or not continue with this career. And just like kind of living on the edge a little bit. And I think that's gonna be like some really cool like key points to talk about when I write my book and just like how close I was to like not doing it and like and all the kind of like the behind the scenes stuff that was going on. But there's a lot of cool stuff that happened and it built me into who I am today and kind of gave me that energy to compete for so long.
Now, talking about what you're building today, what are things you're doing now? I see you golf.
Oh yeah, I still compete. So I love competition. So I play ice hockey. I play on 2 beer league hockey teams. I play golf and tournaments all the time. I play in anything whenever I can find a tournament or anything competitive, I'm in. So whatever you want to do. If you want a seatbelt race, I'm in. Like literally, like I'll do anything.
I love golf. I play golf. I play in the mid to high 70s.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I just shot my lowest round ever from the tips.
Yeah, but you know what? Anything hotter than that, I'll stay home.
What do you mean?
That's a joke I always say. I tell people I play to the mid to high 70s. They're like, "Oh my god, that's freaking amazing!" I go, "Yeah, anything hotter than that, I'll stay home. I'm not gonna go out and play in the 70s."
Oh, okay.
Get it temperature wise.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No. I actually never heard that one before.
Yeah, I was fooled by that. If somebody told me, "You play golf?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like to play." I mean, I'm not a pro at it. I just like to have fun. And he goes, "I played a mid to high 70s." I'm like, "Dude, you should be competing. That's freaking amazing." He goes, "Yeah, anything hotter than that, I'll stay home, man. I don't want to play 89."
Yeah, that's so funny.
Pull the heck out of me, man.
Yeah, so I've been playing. I played golf. I played junior golf when I was a kid, and I played a lot of sports growing up. And golf was just like always a hobby. I worked at a golf course for like 3.5 years. So I got a lot of free golf when I was younger.
I did too.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. If you really love golf and you're young, you can just get a job at a golf course.
I worked actually at a hotel in Puerto Rico where the shark, what's his name? Greg Norman did a course, and it was phenomenal, and I loved it. I was just a guy carrying the bags, cleaning the clubs after the guests get done, and making sure the tee times are already set up. for them when they come over, and it was a Weston Rio Mar, and it was in Rio Grande, right next to the national rainforest.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So in Puerto Rico, what we did is everybody, big portion of people get into tourism because that's where the money's at, tourism. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get a head start. I'm going to study that, become a tour guide, etc. But I'm going to go in the hotel industry. So I worked there, and I worked at the Westin. Back they changed it now. Now Westin left and is now took over by Wyndham. So I worked at that hotel, very beautiful, and at the golf course. I got to see Greg, but a very far distance. And it was nice. And I I did that for a while, and just, well, let me go a little bit further back. Before Weston came over, it was the property and all this stuff was owned by the owners of Reebok. I got to meet the owner of Reebok, the son, and super spoiled. I remember one day they were playing golf. I was nearby, making sure everything, all the carts were there. They had the electrical carts. Everything is fully charged. And he was like, got done playing. He's like telling his buddies, guys, anybody want to go to Japan? They're like, yeah, cool. Okay, we'll go tonight. Just like that. I'm like, can I go too? They just wanted to go there to play some golf course over there.
Yeah.
They just do that. I mean, obviously you spoil rich, you can do whatever you want, but just immediately just like, hey, want to go? Yeah, let's go. Sure, no problem. Okay. And it was a blast. I mean, I had fun. I got to meet a lot of rich and famous and stuff like that, and they all always ask for tea times. They always put up, and always you'll see them out on the golf course. But our thing was that we're not allowed to approach them, or unless they approach us or come to us. We can't be asking for autographs. We can't be asking for nothing. We just like treat them like if it's anybody else. Don't make them feel uncomfortable, or hey, can I get your autograph? Can I take a picture with you? Because you will be fired immediately. So we just had to treat them like normal human beings, because they go to the island to escape from that, because they receive that every single day wherever they go.
Yeah.
They're eating in a restaurant and they're already getting harassed. Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? Can I get this? So we I just pretend I just ignore them,
Yeah, I think it's just like in service in general. Like you have to treat, just,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. But yeah, those rules are in place for a reason, and people do try to get away from that stuff, and they try to find some
They want
normal
peace and
lifestyle.
tranquility, yeah, especially when you're gonna go golfing and doing that. So I see you golf, and I see you on Twitter or /X now. I don't know what to call it, man. That's such a freaking pain in the neck. I tell X, and people are like, okay, X, Twitter. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. So it's still, I still say Twitter /X. So I see that you golf. Who else? You golf with anybody pretty pot? You haven't golfed with Ninja, have you?
No, never golf with Ninja. I met Dr. Spec for my first time, and we were hitting balls in the range together. And then I played a lot of celebrities and so forth. I mean, just like professional baseball players, football players. Played with Austin Reeves last year when the NBA Summer League was here in town. He's a point guard for the Lakers, and just played with a bunch of different athletes. I've been meeting more athletes more than ever. In the last like 5 years or so. I think it's just, I don't know, something about meeting. I meet a lot of professional athletes now. And so it's always kind of cool because obviously they come from like the more traditional sports world, and I come from like the esports side. But the common ground is like everyone's a competitor. Austin Reeves is a really good golfer actually. He shot like 81 with me the first day, then 71 the next day, and I was like, wow, he shot 100 par, and like I thought that was really impressive. But yeah, he's self-proclaimed he's the best NBA golfer. You know, and but yeah, he's a really good stick and really nice guy, super humble and just down to earth, and we have such a good time playing golf
Those are
together.
those are the good people. I like the humble ones, you know. Some people ask me, "Oh, wouldn't you like this person to be on your show and all this?" I said, "No, I don't care about the fame. I don't care. I like the humble people." Oh, but you could get famous. I said, "Listen, my fame is to save people's lives. I work in the medical field, and that's my high. If I'm
That's
able to
cool.
save somebody's mom, dad's life, that's my goal. That's my champion. That's my trophy.
For
This is
sure.
just a hobby. This is just for fun. Famous people, I got it in my bloodline. I won't say this much, but my cousin Lenny Castro, you can look him up. He is very popular in the music industry. He plays with Fleetwood Mac. He plays with Stevie Nicks. He played with Maroon 5. He plays with 50, Stevie Wonder, you name it. And I got to be backstage with pop. It comes to a point that I'm so used to them. Now for me, it's not like, okay, it will give me backstage. You want to be backstage? I'm like, sure, I'll go. And just
Mhm.
regular people. It's like you and me, nothing. And but I always tend to like the humble ones. Like you said, you were playing with a person that just humble. Those are the people I like to be friends with. And I don't go out bragging. Oh, I got a cousin. He does. I don't say that much. I don't even put that out. I'm saying that out with you because we're talking about the topic about celebrities and famous people. But I have them, and and I've been there, done that, been backstage. I on the concert with Stevie Nicks. He played in. He said, "I'm going to be on tour with Stevie Nicks." Very good friends. They're very good friends. They known each other for many years. And I said, "Sure, let's go." I was more there for him than for anybody. I mean, I was back. She was over there in the corner talking and with friends, and because it's VIP, there's only one way to get in. And I was like, because I just want to be here with you. That's all I care.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like,
it's like when you're there to watch who you want to watch, and
yeah,
when it's like when Austin Reeves came to Vegas to play in the in season tournament. I got to see LeBron play and Anthony Davis, and the Lakers won it, but Austin Reeves killed it. Like it was like really fun to watch him like do his profession and so forth. And I think that's just like you know with any fan, you love to be there in person and watch them do their thing. And yeah,
oh
it's
yeah,
always it was fun. It was a really enjoyable night, and got to see a good game, and it was just different. It was really cool. Had a good time,
dude,
and
that's amazing.
Vegas is wild though. Vegas is like Las Vegas has been great for me. It's just beautiful how much it's grown into a real city. Um, with all the sports teams coming here and so forth. When I first moved here, there was really no sports teams, but now we got the Golden Knights, we got the Raiders. I'm not really a massive Raiders fan because I'm a Kansas City guy.
Hmm.
Uh, I grew up right by Kansas City Stadium as a kid, and obviously lived in Kansas City pretty much my whole life. But also have a place here in Las Vegas, so it's kind of cool. And then yeah, just overall, just watching like Vegas evolve into a real city has been kind of amazing over the last 15 years. Um, and so it's really exciting. I love hockey, as I told you earlier. Like I played last night and playing tonight again. I played on two different teams, and uh, excited to do that. But then tomorrow, I'm actually heading off with my brother. Gonna go play golf in Oregon at Bandon Dunes, and so
You gotta do.
I definitely am enjoying the retired gamer life.
Yeah, no, I bet. So yeah, that's nice to know.
But but like most of my life always still revolves around competing, and
Yeah,
I just love competing, and
it's part of you.
uh,
It's part of
yeah,
your. It's in your blood that no matter what you do, no matter how small or big, you're always gonna have that competitive drive in you. No matter what it is, you want to be the best at it. You're gonna go.
I tried to turn it off last year for one hole of golf, and literally at the green, and it turned back on, and everyone got upset at me. It was like, dude, like I can't help it. Like this is like, I just want to win. I want to compete. I want there to be someone on the line. Like I just can't stand it. Not like, are we just playing to play? Like this makes no sense. Like this is like if we were just gonna go whack the ball around, I'd go like, I don't know, just I don't know, like not like I don't know. I just it's not in me. Like it has to be something online. It has to mean something to do something.
Well, if you're ever down in Florida, let me know. Hook me up. You know, you got my contact, and we could play. We could go to a golf range because I play horrible. I mean, you play with me, you're gonna have fun. You're gonna be winning.
Yeah.
You're gonna win. I
Yeah.
guarantee. How much you want to bet you're gonna win? That's a competitive.
Well, I was doing the research on like what percentile I am in the golf world. So
Mhm.
right now my handicap is a 0.9. So I think I'm in the top 2% of all the golfers. So like I just shot my lowest round ever the other day. I shot 69 from the tips at Santa Ana Country Club. And so it was so funny. I started off with a bogey, then I had all pars and 4 birdies after that.
Get the heck out of here! Really?
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. So
how much you want to bet I'll do all bogeys?
I bet you'll shoot 69 on the front 9.
Oh no!
No, I was joking. I was shooting I told everyone I shot 69. They're like, yeah, on the front 9. I'm like, no. It's like, yeah. But I put a lot of effort in golf. You know, I think, yeah, it's just I like the hand-eye coordination and precision and just all the skills I've had since I was a kid, and using that for esports and gaming. But I see the transition directly into traditional sports and esports to me are very similar because they require a certain skill set, and I love playing anything that involves those skills. And I really look forward to some new games coming out in gaming and esports. Like I'm really craving something new and fresh and exciting, and I've just been kind of waiting right now, like playing some games like the finals or I play Apex Legends still and PUBG and Overwatch and all the kind of like the classics, I guess you should call them now because they've been around for so long. But I've just been craving something new and fresh, and I'd really like for the game to be just like a faster game. I played Tribes 3. I don't know if you ever played Tribes. So Tribes is a very old school game. Tribes 2 came out in 2001. To show you how old that game is. But Tribes was a really fun game. They have this thing called they have this skill, like a surfing skill. So you basically surf through the dunes, and you can fly and burst yourself into the sky and fly around and shoot like these like discs. They're kind of like rocket launchers. And play capture the flag. You can do all the different things and so forth. But it's actually pretty fun. Like if you want to play a fast game and feel like a little bit of juice behind you, it's pretty fun to play Tribes right now. Like I would say if I had to play a game right now, the playtest is over right now. But Tribes was a really fun game. So if you get a chance, try out some Tribes. I think it was probably the most fun I had this year playing games. I'm trying to think of the other games I really enjoyed.
You did. I did try finals. The one you just told me.
Yeah, the finals. Yeah.
It's actually pretty. It's very competitive. It's awesome. My stepdaughter. Well, daughter. I call her daughter. She plays it, and I tell her, try this out because she has that competitive spirit in her.
Yeah.
She loves sports. She likes. She's gonna get already signing up for flag football and all this stuff, and then I told her, hey, try this out. She goes, oh, come on. I'm like, trust me, I think you're gonna like it. She played it, and all of a sudden, this is my favorite game. I was like, what? And she like loves it. She's like hardcore in it. She loves that competitiveness.
Yeah, the finals is a really good game. Like, I mean, it's a 3-person team game and so forth. What do I like about it? I mean, It is pretty cool that you can destruct and destroy things and so forth. It feels like a faster Call of Duty to some degree because you can move and shoot at the same time.
Yeah, it's like I felt like a little bit of an Apex in a way.
Yeah, it has a little bit of Apex in it. But like, the problem with these games, like this is like my big pet peeve with all these games right now, is that they take out all the skill of deleting someone and basically make it so like you can only kill like say how much damage you can do with a full clip, okay? A full clip you can do 120% damage, okay? So even you hit every shot, you're gonna kill one guy. And then the second guy, you're gonna kill like maybe 20 to 50% of him. You're not gonna kill him, right? So it's like this ability for one person to kill a whole team is not really there. And so for me, I like to see more. Like Apex Legends was perfect when it first came out. You could go in there, delete guys with the wingman and then the shotgun, the peacekeeper, and you could totally just like wreck. Like you could definitely kill two guys. A third guy would be really hard with the two clips. But now it's more. I feel like the game's more like Halo now. Like if you remember Halo, it's like you can only shoot so much, and then you're reloading or whatever deal is, and then you just die. And it's like kind of like this like domino effect that's happening all the time. So I miss like those moments where like you can really pop off and just go completely bonkers on your opponent and like just delete everyone. I miss that part of gaming in a lot of ways. Just I feel like everything is built to be a 50-50 experience now, and they do so many things to make sure everyone's having fun. But like like my fun is deleting people, and when they take the speed of the game away and take away like all the amazing shots that you can perform and do. And for me, it's like I just really want a faster game. Like I just miss fast games. Like that's kind of like if I'm gonna flank someone like in PUBG, I gotta spend like a minute or more flanking the guy. In Quake, you'd flank the guy in like 10 seconds or 5 seconds, or directly in front of him. Like like there's everything's instant. Like you could do it on the spot, but like everything else is just a long, drawn out process. I feel like sometimes.
You still play PUBG or no?
Yeah, I played it. I played it a little bit this year, not a ton. Not playing it like I used to, for sure. But yeah, I play it the other day. I don't play with my friends as much as I would like to. Like that's the big thing about playing in these games. Like you really just want to play with friends you really enjoy playing with, and you enjoy playing with and doing stupid stuff. Like we had a thing where we'd land hot at military base every round, no matter what, and we would do it nonstop until all four of us got out. And it was so much fun. Like we were just yelling, screaming, and it was so much fun. Like those are the best parts of like playing with a team or playing with just your friends in general. Like like my team is not the best players in the world. Like my team is literally just my friends that I enjoy playing with. I enjoy talking with. And like it's the best for that regard, but usually it leads to a stream of me yelling at my friends like the whole stream.
Yeah,
like what are you doing? Why are you going there? Like one of my friends is a car salesman in Alabama. This guy has like the thickest like Southern accent, and he is so funny. And so every time we die, we just blame him. And he's always carrying smoke grenades. He's like our designated smoke thrower. He just throws smokes everywhere. Like wherever we go, there's just smoke grenades everywhere. And that's his thing. Like it's just so funny. It's a lot of laughing, and even when he's dead, and somehow like me and like my other friend Skittles or whoever like say like I die or she dies, I was like, oh, it's definitely Sarge's fault, the car salesman. So we have so much fun poking each other. It's a good time.
Wow, man, phenomenal. Well, my friend, it was fun to talk to you and have you on. I know we got so much more to talk. I want to save it for another episode.
Maybe when I get the book out, we'll talk more
when
about
you
that.
get the book out, because I want to talk more. I want to go more in depth on with your Hall of Fame, all that stuff, all those goodies. and it's been phenomenal. I know we could go on and on and on because you were honestly. I'm going to tell you this: I did wanted to make a gamer tag, to have fatality in it. That's how much I admired you, and still admire you. And I was trying to go put wannabe fatality, uh, you know, fatality to go.
Have you ever heard the song?
The which one? The song?
It's called "It's Gotta Be Fatality."
No, I never heard of it.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. You're gonna love it. It's called "It's Gotta Be Fatality." So I had a friend from Sweden that remastered it. It was really initially made by a fan who saw me on MTV, and the guy who's like a 17-year-old kid reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, Fatality, do you mind if I write a song for you?" I'm like, "That would be amazing." Like, sure. And then he made the song, and it was like really kind of catchy. And I was like, "Wow, this is amazing for 2002, like just making it like at home by yourself with whatever sound stuff you have to make whatever electronic music you can make. I guess at the time, I don't even know."
You could send it to me on Twitter. I got you.
Yeah. And so
Easier.
so then this guy from Sweden named Torsland, he's really good. Like he remasters music and just amplified it beyond your belief. Like it was like, this is 10 times better than the original. And so it was really cool. And so yeah, I'll send you it. But yeah, It's Gotta Be Fatality, and I'm sure you can just search on YouTube and you'll find it. But I'll send it to you as well.
Oh yeah. Let me just do like I can't DM you on Twitter yet. Hold on. I added you there. You got it there. So, but yeah, we'll set up when your book comes out. We're gonna bring you back on the show because we need a lot to talk about. There's more. There's so much more. So we'll get that. We'll get that in the schedule. I got my schedule's getting really booked lately. It's getting packed. So right now I'm all the way booked all the way till February, mid-February, and it's getting packed right now as we speak. A lot of people want to be on the show. So
that's cool, man.
Oh yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I like it. It's a hobby. Like I said, it gets my mind off work because working 12 hours shift in the hospital it takes a toll on you. So this is my way to decompress and take stress out. Talk about gaming and just having fun. That's all I do. Just have fun with it. So
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thank you very much for having me on your show, and
yeah,
it was
it's
so
a
cool
pleasure
to see
and an honor, man. You don't know the honor. Thank you so much because you could have been like a lot of these guys that just only won one time. They just won one championship. And that's it. And they just like the total jerks and toxic. They don't even want to talk to you. They don't even approach nothing. And you being the GOAT of esport. And I tell this to people. He is the Tom Brady. He is the Michael Jordan of esports. Won so many times. And still you were like humble to talk to me, reached out, we talked, we back and forth emails, and you said yes. You didn't like, oh wait, you don't have 1 million followers, I'm not going to go ahead and go to your show. You were nothing like that. And that right there just, gain so much respect. I like, I'm not worthy.
Well,
I'm not worthy. I was like, oh man,
it's
all-time
really
favorite. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. And you actually hit a memory for me. So back in the early '90s, before I ever won my first championship, I had the same experience as you had, where talked to this one guy who won one tournament, whatever, and like wouldn't talk to you. And I try to talk to everyone. Like, I was like, oh, I want to talk to this guy because he's like really good at the game. I want to you want to have these moments with these people. And I always felt like they're jerks and assholes, same as you do.
Yep.
And so I was like, this is like ridiculous. Like, these people aren't giving any attention to their fan base or like who they, or just just be a normal person almost. And so I was kind of like turned off by it. And so before I ever won a championship, like I only had 3 goals. The first goal was, I want to travel overseas and play a video game. That was my number 1 goal. What, just want to, I think that would be a cool thing to have on my, something that grandpa did, when you tell your grandkids someday, it's like your dad traveled overseas to play video game kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And then the second one was I want to become a world champion. I really want to become a world champion. I want to be the best in the world. I want to be the best in the world, and I want to accomplish that. And then number 3 was once I become a champion, I'm not going to be a jerk, and I'm gonna spend time answering every question, every interview, and everything. And you can't imagine what my IRC chat looked like. I had thousands. You couldn't even see the bar on the screen. They were like 10 little needles. And I remember just I spent probably 30 days straight answering everyone and just reading their message, saying thank you, reading the message, saying thank you. And then, I eventually closing all the chat things. Then eventually people start responding and or continuing the conversation. And then I would answer all those questions. I mean, it was like an 8-hour-a-day work job, just answering questions, talking to people, and doing the whole thing. But I knew it meant a lot to them because I just remember how much I wanted my question answered, and so I know the feeling, and thank you for reminding me of those early days.
Those good moments, yeah. Well, that's what the podcast's about. It's about talk about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
Well, Fatality, thank you so much. I always give everybody a moment to give them the stage so you could give advertise whatever where your website, where to find you. So the stage is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, obviously you guys know as Fatality, FATAL1TY. You can find me on basically any social media platform, and love for you guys come by and watch me live stream sometime. And other than that, I appreciate your time, Dr. VTach. I appreciate having me on the show, and looking forward to seeing you online.
Phenomenal.
And don't forget, you got to practice.
Yes.
Practice. That's
now,
the only way, guys.
You have a website, right?
Yeah, fatality.com.
Fatality.com, folks. And don't forget to follow him on Twitter /X, and also
just
go
everywhere.
to the website so you could get to see more about him, and also his book is coming out, and of course I'm gonna
I gotta write it.
Yeah. So when that comes out and gets done, we got
we'll
a
do
lot
this again.
Yes. Okay. So folks, take care. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping by the show, and God bless you. Have a good one, guys. Till next time, take care. Peace.